Now, let's make a line graph. So our line graph, we're going to start out similarly, go to Insert. Now for line graphs, I like to have a line graph with markers just so it better kind of shows where the data is, I guess. Make it a little bit bigger again. So select data, same way. Now I'm going to add a series and notice that there's no X values anymore. That's down here. So horizontal category axis labels. That gets taken because with line graphs, we make line graphs when we know something is going to be like a time series, right? Or a series of interventions. So it can be like, oh, every week or first, second, third, fourth, or whatever. In this case, we're looking at minutes. So the horizontal category is going to be our x-axis because now the independent variable is a set number, whereas earlier with our scatter plot, height was kind of all over the place. We didn't necessarily have anybody who was 0 centimeters, right? But with line graphs, there is a 0. There is a beginning. So our horizontal category axis labels, that's our time. That's our x-axis. Now our y-axis for the first series, that's going to be heart rate. And so I'm going to go ahead and name this one exactly that, heart rate. Let's create a second series. This is going to be VO2. The horizontal axis is the same as it was before, 0 through 10 minutes. Now the y area is now VO2. If I click OK, ta-da! Some of the same issues arise though. We have two variables we want on this plot, so I'm going to select this second group, go to the 3 bars, secondary axis, that looks better. Chart title, we're going to say heart rate, and VO2 response to exercise. We don't want to mess with the scaling here too much because really it looks all right. This still tells a pretty good story. What we could do though is label these. So axis titles, primary, horizontal. Well, this is time in minutes. Again, for line graphs, we usually have some kind of series of events, right? Let's bump that up to 16. Let's bump this up to, let's see what 28. Oops. This one didn't go. Nope. Gotta select it all. 16. There we go. Let's name the primary vertical. Here we have the primary being heart rate in beats per minute, BPM. We'll go ahead and make that 16 as well. Here we go, inserting a title on the secondary vertical now. This is VO2, and this is in milliliters per kilo per minute. It's milliliters of oxygen per kilo per minute. Let's go ahead and make that title a little bit bigger as well. Now, what else do we need? Well, we really could use a legend because we always want to know what it is we're looking at. Again, I like to overlap it. Especially with something like this because we have so much white space here. And I like to then make this a little bit bigger as well so we can see what line represents what. And what else do we need? Well, really, for a line graph, this is it. Because let's think about this. If we put a trend line, well, we don't want to know the trend line because we see the exact data here, right? And if there's no trend line, then there's no R squared or anything like that. Because what we're looking at right now is one subject and their response to exercise. Now, if we had multiple subjects, what we would do is mean and standard deviation, and we could go down a rabbit hole there. But for a single subject, this is really all that we need. We have the heart rate, we have the VO2 data over time, and that's the story we're going to tell. So for our line graph, this would be it. And this will be the extent that we really see in class. So hopefully these 2 videos helped. If you have any questions, always feel free to ask.